And we're on. I'm here with Courtney Dills, one of Bryson City's own. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing just great. I'm just happy to have you. You know, you're my first flesh and blood guest here on the Stan Show podcast. How does that make you feel?
It is my honor and privilege to be here. I do like to be the welcoming committee for all new members.
It's great. It's great to have you here. Why don't you just talk a little bit about yourself and what you're doing these days?
I am a Bryson City local, native, born and raised. I've left a few times. I went off to Bible college, funny enough. I didn't last long there, if you can imagine. Had a couple of kids. I got them raised. I've moved back here. And so I've decided to move from being blue collar and doing traditionally men's jobs to now I'm a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway. And I'm pretty blown away that they accepted me. They're like, yeah, come on, girl, we got you.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that now?
I passed the exam and whatnot, got my license in September of 2024. And I just closed on my first transaction in January, and I'm working on another deal today. I got another under contract, so I'm pretty excited.
Fantastic. I've known a lot of realtors in my life. One of my best friends, where I came from in St. Pete, Florida, is a young man, realtor, and I got him hooked up with a Facebook page and got him on there as the exclusive realtor for that thing, and his whole career just kind of exploded. It was great. But what's the market like around here in Bryson City now?
Oh, it's all over the place. We have a lot of people that are looking for the Airbnbs. They're looking to get into them. They're looking to get out of them. So there's trades going on in that direction. And we're starting to see prices kind of come down just a hair from the COVID. That was insane. I didn't get into it until after that. The stories.
I probably told you that, my wife and I have been coming to Bryson City since I was 10 years old, which was a long time ago.
It's a magic place.
It is. It's wonderful. And we just always wanted to live here in retirement and all that. And then suddenly, about 2 years ago, something happened that we didn't expect, and it gave us the opportunity to be able to buy this house that we're in now up on Hospital Hill, which is now the home of Mountain View Recording, where we are both sitting.
This studio is lovely.
Isn't it great?
It's very nice. State-of-the-art stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's brand new, and it's not completely finished yet. The bathroom's not done yet, but they did finish the kitchen, as you can see over there. And I'll take the folks on a tour of that coming up soon. Not today, but we'll make that happen. But another realtor, Barb Stiles, she was the owner of this place and had it as an Airbnb. We stayed in it several times. And then when we found out we would have enough money to buy a home up here, I asked her, I got worked up the nerve one day, said, do you think we might be able to buy this place from you? And she said, well, that might could happen. And we worked it out. It wasn't until we moved in June 1st of 23, and we weren't able to close on it for 15 months. So we just rented it for 15 months. And then when we finally closed on it, we just started making improvements and finishing some stuff up that needed some help. And then finally we were able to start working on this recording studio here. And this has been a dream of mine for a long time, and it's finally come to fruition.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you.
I'm real happy about it myself. Why don't you talk about a little bit about you were born and raised here, is that right?
That is right. I was born at the Silva Hospital and then grew up. We moved around a lot when I was a kid for the first little while and settled after my father passed away. I was 8.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it happens, and I was blessed with a very great stepdad. My stepdad is incredible. And we settled in the house that my parents still live in now and live there.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. Speaking of hospitals, I was one of the first patients in the Bryson City Hospital.
I love it how many people have stories of coming here as a child and then they get blessed with living here.
Well, see, back in the day, Nantahala Village was a real going concern back then. And it was hopping and just a vacation central. It's before there was a Nantahala Outdoor Center or anything like that. It's before the whitewater rafting was even a thing. When I was 10 years old, I wasn't in Nantahala Village for more than 10 minutes before I ran off a hill and off an embankment, and I just embedded my chin in a gravel road. And man, I took 32 stitches in my chin in that hospital up there on the hill. My parents were none too happy. In fact, they got divorced after 26 years the next year.
Oh, my goodness.
I felt like I was to blame.
And now you came right back where it all started.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, as I had mentioned to you, man, we were coming up here. In fact, when Karen and I got married 44 years ago, we stayed in the honeymoon cottage at Nantahala Village for a week for our honeymoon. And at that time, it was still pretty rocking. It was pretty, it's a way different place now.
It is.
But man, back in the day, there were at the pool, there were just kids running around everywhere and cars coming and going. And the restaurant, that was the old lodge before it burnt down.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. And
we all know how those things burn down. Accidents happen.
Well, the nice lodge is very nice. I understand the restaurant in there is excellent.
I've heard the same thing.
I haven't been there yet, but we've got to go. The nicest place I've been around to in these parts is Boots in Dillsboro.
That place is kind of fancy.
It's great.
It's got good food.
It's great. One of our very good friends that we met up here about 6 or 7 years ago, she's a server at Boots. Okay. And her husband, Ed, has become one of my best friends. And in fact, he is responsible for building most of this studio, along with some help from my son, Devin, who we convinced him to move up here with his girlfriend and a brand new grandbaby of ours.
Oh, congratulations.
And she's wonderful. Her name is Avery. She was born in St. Pete. They moved up here about 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay. Good.
And we found them a place in, it's actually, how the city lines run here, they're a little funky, but it's actually Dillsboro. Okay. And they've got a nice house up there, and it's all going very well. And Ed and Devin are going to work together building stuff, and they've got so much work lined up for them. It's crazy. They just made a deal that they're going to be working for about 2 years on Big Bear Campground.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I hope to get the owner of Big Bear in here. I know that Ed was talking to him about coming in and doing a podcast with us so they could tell us the whole story about that.
Oh, that would be a lot.
But they're going to refurbish that whole place and make it gorgeous.
I bet so. Ed's work is incredible.
He is. He's amazing. And he's working for me, so he's not making a lot of money. He can't wait to get finished and get...
He likes to take the vision and turn it into reality. He does a good job with that.
Well, this was my vision, and I designed this whole place. And you can see that we got a cool wall behind me here. That's just a lot of stuff on it and all that, but it's made to absorb sound, so the sound doesn't reflect in here like you would have in a recording studio. And this is 640 square feet, and we'll be able to start recording bands in here. So if you know any musicians, podcasting is, I don't charge for podcasting because this is my passion project. And I want to get more folks like you in here to talk about your businesses, about your background, and just about Bryson City and the area. The whole thing. I mean, from Silva down to Waynesville, to Franklin.
Well, I owe it to Ed that I'm sitting here. He said, you have got to meet my friend Stan, and you have to come up here and see this place.
He's one of my biggest promoters. He is.
He's a great guy.
Well, he's a musician too, and he and I have that in common. So I've done a lot of stuff over the years. I started my whole adult career touring North America with an entertainment company. Did that for 13 years.
That's right. You're a motivational speaker.
Well, so to speak. We put together a company called Young American Showcase, and we put together rock and roll bands that did shows in high schools all over North America. It was rock and roll, a little bit of comedy, and a motivational message, and the schools loved it. They just absolutely ate it up. And that company was good for about 22 years. And you know what killed it? You're not going to believe it. It was grunge music. Kind of killed our vibe because the kids got into this real sullen, dark music, and we weren't going to do that. So it all kind of, well, it had lasted a very long time, and it was kind of time, I think.
Right.
And my wife and I got a house. We bought our first house in St. Pete after we'd been married for 10 years and had 2 babies, and who are grown adults now, and
Now they brought you babies.
yes, they have. We have 2 beautiful granddaughters. My daughter, who lives with us in the downstairs portion of the house, her little girl is now 3.5 and attends lots of tots, if you know what that is.
I do
She
indeed,
did lots of
yes.
tots.
Yeah.
She's getting into a special program next year when she turns 4 for speech therapy.
My son went through that and went to Bright Adventures.
That's the one.
It's the
That's
one.
the
They
one.
do
It's
a
Bright
really great
Adventures.
job. Yeah.
Well, we're excited about it. We're excited to get her in there. Both these kids are so beautiful and such wonderful children without issues. And little Avery was born with a spine issue, and they had to take her down to St. Pete for about 3 weeks. And she had something happened called a tethered spine or something like that. Anyway, the surgery was perfect, and she's getting ready to walk. And she's only she's 10 months old.
Oh, wow.
And she's crawling around like
Going to start right.
it's amazing. And I think she's going to be walking before tomorrow. Anyway, so what about you?
I have my first grandchild. She will be 3 in August. Little girl, her name's Ridge. She is quite the character. She's funny. Very funny.
All right. Well, then you obviously had some children.
Yes, I do. I have 3 children. My oldest one, Chloe, she's a little girl. That she has the baby, obviously. And then I have 2 boys, Dakota and Phoenix. And Phoenix works over here at Native Brews in Cherokee.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
Have you eaten there?
Yes.
That is my favorite.
I had a
restaurant to eat
fantastic meal there.
Yeah.
We know somebody named Crystal who works there. Do you know Crystal?
at. I do indeed.
All right. And I understand they're opening up a Native Brews right here in Bryson City.
That's
where
right.
the old Nate and Nick's was.
That's correct.
Isn't that wonderful?
I'm so excited. I don't have to go so far to get my favorite meal.
Yeah, I can't remember what I had, but I looked at my wife and said, "This is fantastic."
Well, they've started doing a bloomin' onion these days.
Oh boy.
You know, that's good.
Well, they're not going to be opening an Outback Steakhouse around here anytime soon.
Their onion beats it. I probably shouldn't use that for trademark reasons.
Well, then tell me a little bit about being I don't want to, bust your vibe or anything, but being a grandma, isn't it the best thing ever?
It's the best thing. And people used to tell me that. And I was like, yeah, right. No, it can't be. And then all of a sudden you have this little incredible child that looks just like your kid. But at the same time, you're like, okay, I love you. Here's your mom. And it's the greatest thing. You're just relieved of responsibility. And I didn't agree to raise grandchildren. I got you successfully to adulthood. So now it's your turn.
Well, our situation is a little bit different in as much as our granddaughter lives with us, and she has her own bedroom now, which is across the hall from our bedroom.
Nice, though. That would be the best thing.
Well, it was our guest room, but once she got to be 3 years old, she really kind of needed her own bedroom,
Yeah.
So we gave that to her. And the funny thing about that is this studio is actually an apartment. We built it so that people could stay up here, and we have a full kitchen and a full bath.
It's a nice room.
That wall absorbs sound reflections because it's a recording studio. We put the same kind of wall against my office wall there. And, we just got this beautiful surrounding here. Of course, our house has this beautiful view, and you can kind of see it out the windows that are behind you. And waiting for the spring to come around. I've had enough of winter. I don't know about you.
Oh, I'm over. I've never liked winter my entire life. But if we're going to have winter, can we please at least have snow?
Yeah.
Like, just stop with the ugly.
Well, our first winter here, we had basically no snow. We had 2 dustings that melted off before noon both times. And then it was just, about a month ago, we got 4 inches.
Yeah.
And we got the granddaughter out there to play, to get her on a sled out there because we have, our property has a really nice hill. They're a really big time hill. And that was fun. So,
But you've heard the legend, I'm sure, of the blizzard of 93.
I just briefly, tell me about it. What happened?
Oh, it was the nicest spring days. The weather was gorgeous. We go to bed, we wake up, there's 3 foot of snow. It's like 36 inches of snow. As kids, like my step, he gets out we had a Bronco, an 80-some edition Bronco. And we're driving down the 4-lane because, of course, he has to go to town and I'm going with him.
Yeah.
I'm not staying home. If Pop's going, I'm going. So here we are. We're going down the highway, and I just remember the snow. There was so much snow that this Bronco was pushing. It was coming up over the hood. And this party just, it was the most snow I've ever seen.
Well, that, as you know, that can be very, very dangerous.
Just try. We had a blast. We used to do all kinds of dangerous things. One of the things that's unfortunate, the TVA has closed off where we can't go mudding in the lake beds anymore. Oh, that used to be the most fun.
I bet.
It was great.
Well, I wrecked a truck up in Newfoundland in 1980 when I was on tour driving, in a wet snow. And I just told myself at that time, I'm never going to drive in snow again. And I never had. And I have been driving around here, not this year, but it's like 3 years ago. There was a major freeze right after Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, it went down to 0.
That was the year I left on Christmas Eve and went on across the country little adventure. So I missed the snow, but I saw the Grand Canyon.
The problem was all the black ice on the highway. And we skated out on that a couple of times. And I said, we're going back to the hotel.
And then you have the salt shortages because we didn't plan for it to be that way.
Right.
The road's not getting fixed.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of driving on black ice or snow or any of that. And I won't do it anymore. Just like I won't get on an airplane anymore.
No,
but that's a different story. That has to do with COVID and all that. COVID kind of wrecked my whole airplane experience. I used to have to fly around a lot in my job, and I'm just so happy to be here now. I can go 3 or 4 days without leaving this house at all.
Isn't that the wildest thing? I had never gotten on an airplane. I had no intention of ever getting on an airplane. And I have a friend that lives in Jacksonville, and she convinced me, you're flying down here to see. So I got on an airplane by myself, flew. There was a hurricane off the coast, and of course, here I am flying into it. No clue, oblivious. You just bounce through it like you're bouncing on a back road in South Carolina. Turbulence is nothing at that point. And so I loved it. I became just so enamored of flying until now. And you have so many planes just flipping into each other or falling out of the sky in the past couple of months.
For me, it's the unruly passengers. You see so much of that now. And back in the days when I was flying, we didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have YouTube. And now it's like a horror show on airplanes now. And I just don't want to get on. My wife and I talked about maybe this summer renting an RV and going out west again because we haven't been to Denver or LA or San Diego or to the Yosemite or Yellowstone. We've done all of that, but we were much younger people back then when we did it. And we just love to see that again.
Maybe leave LA off though.
Yeah, probably at this point. I'm actually doing work for a man who has a company in San Diego. And I have also a very dear friend who lives in San Diego. I would love to get out there and go to Ocean Beach and There's on Ocean Beach, there's a place called the OB Noodle House.
Oh,
And it's an Asian cuisine restaurant, and they invented screwball whiskey, if you know what that.
I didn't know that.
The peanut butter flavored whiskey.
Yeah.
They invented it there,
Oh, wow.
and they actually mix it up in a vat. And the screwball whiskey you buy now in the store, it's similar, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
It seems like everything changed after COVID taste-wise.
It sure did.
Dude, and I don't think it's our taste buds. I think the ingredients and things changed.
Well, and they're going to change again, I think, if RFK has anything to do with it.
Oh, I hope we go to something similar to Europe. The comparison of ingredients on the same product.
It's true.
Incredible.
It's true. I mean, you know, there's a lot of poisons in our food, and RFK wants to deal with that. I don't want to get political or go off on a tangent on that, but I'm looking forward to these 4 years, Sid, just to see how much good can be done in this country and bring it kind of back to where it was. We're in for big time, I think, in the next 4 years.
It's going to at least be different.
It's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a lot different. All right, let's get off that. Let's talk a little bit about, I'll take you back again. You went to Swain County High School, right? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, you know, it was all about Friday night football.
Yeah.
It is. And you'll hear that living up here on Hospital Hill. You'll hear on Friday nights. I'm sure you've heard them already if you've been here since, you said June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've heard the Friday nights. Is from me.
No, but what's right in back of us, right in back of this house is a baseball field for the recreation center. We've heard a lot of baseball games going on in there. And the other thing that we hear all the time is, well, not all the time, maybe a couple of times a week, is the helicopter that comes into town to land at the hospital, because the hospital is only 100 yards away from here.
Yes.
And the helicopter buzzes this house, and sometimes we can go out on our back deck, and it just goes right in front of us, really close. Right, But
very fortunate to have Mama services here.
We've been buzzed by a lot of aircraft in this house. We get C-130s sometimes just come right over the top of the house. Or, wow.
But no, those pilots have no fear. None.
Well, they put the fear in us.
Exactly.
We were outside by the fire ring with a bunch of people here one night, and one of those things came over, and it was dark. It was pitch black, and it was just roar, and it right over the top of us. And I understand they use this area for training them in how to fly in mountains.
My grandpa used to tell stories of flight into caves on mountains or secret underground facilities. You know, and some of the old timers talked about those things, but those stories are starting to be lost into the.
Yeah, well, I don't doubt it. Those things are around. They're all over the country. You get, especially in the cave systems and all that. It's crazy. Let's go back to Swain County High School. Now, what were you into? You said it was all about Friday night football.
It was all about,
but did you do any of the cheering or?
I was a cheerleader.
Yeah,
we have to sell those raffle tickets.
Yeah, I was in the marching band, so we had the cheerleaders, and we were the Green Devils, so we had the Devilettes.
Oh, we were the Maroon Devils.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. The Devilettes were like a dance team kind of thing.
We have the color guard.
We had the color guard too. How many different things? We had the Devilettes, the color guard, and the cheerleader.
Nice.
And it was big time. There's so many high schools in the Tampa Bay area, especially in the Pinellas County side. Many high schools, and all the marching bands are all competing with each other all the time. And at least that's the way it was back in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh, that was that way up through the 90s here. Definitely. Yeah. You have the rival teams, and sometimes this team has rocks and they're rowdy rags and, little underhanded things happening on the fields. And then the fans are getting involved and fighting. Like, we didn't do that.
I have to go to a Swain County Maroon Devil football game.
You should. I try to go to at least one a year. My son played his senior year, and so I had to go to everyone with that.
Oh, boy. Well, that was fun. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now is your son still local?
He is.
And your daughter?
My youngest one. My oldest two, my daughter and my oldest son, they live over in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. So how often do you get to see that granddaughter?
She comes in maybe once a month if I'm sweet talker and us.
Yeah. Well, I've got a little bit better than that, so I can't complain.
I know, but now Raz, that's her nickname for short. She's all about Sister Coco. That's my nickname.
Oh, hope
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not even going to ask.
It goes back to this little girl. She said, "We all know you, cuckoo, Coco." So okay then. And okay, Coco. That's right.
Okay, so what happened in high school then?
Well, I grew up. I was the only girl in the family. I had 2 female cousins, but they didn't live here, and so it was just, and of course, all the neighbors. I had one neighbor that was a girl, and everybody else was a boy. So it was always fighting and being rowdy. And I'd been bullied, through middle school. Like I said, my father had passed away, and I had a lot of acne, and my hair was all crazy because it's naturally curly. And I didn't know anything about styling my hair or any of that. And so it was rough. And I just, one summer, kind of broke out, and I fought everybody. It didn't matter.
Actual fights?
Physical. Bucking authority was probably my favorite thing to do. I knew some of the cops by name. They were very kind to me. I really miss Mr. E.J. Buchanan, and he was a regular figure in my life.
Who was the principal then?
Oh, he was the principal during those days. I remember Coach Jay because he was the assistant principal, and he was just always kind to me. He put up with my shenanigans, kind of tolerated it, trying to steer me out of trouble. And we had a pretty regular change of principals themselves during.
Well, how did it all work out for you then, senior year?
Senior year, I was always a smart kid. That was the thing. I was in the smart classes. I was, and brag on myself, I blew the top out of the SAT. I could argue on either side of any debate. It didn't matter. Had free rides to college. I mean, somewhere along the way, I just kind of lost motivation and went off and decided to be a little bit of an alcoholic and abuse drugs for a little while. Well, you can't move on in life and be able to lead people out of dark if you're afraid of that. So that's how I appreciate the things I went through so that I can hopefully help other folks. Well, that
was a while ago. I look like you're doing pretty good now.
I'm 117 if you ask anybody that knows me. So, high school was 3 lifetimes ago. I've had a whole set of kids and became a grandma since then.
Yeah. You got your GED, did you?
I did. It didn't take long, maybe 2 weeks after I got expelled for, we'll not go into that whole, it's an entertaining story. It is. We had Mr. Foster, if any of y'all remember Mr. Foster, comment in the comments. He came in, he was an inner city kind of principal, and he came in, he was going to be the tough guy and wrangle us little mountain kids right into submission. And he was expelling boys for having skull rings on their pockets, and he was just kind of hard to deal with. And I was a pothead. I smoked a lot of marijuana, and Mr. Foster made the comment to me one morning that I smelled like marijuana, and I popped right back with, "Yeah, well, you smell like Jim Beam," because I'd been in his office. I've been in his office so many times that I already rifled his desk and found his Jim Beam at school. So, and he was, he had problems. He got.
Well, it needs a little bracer every once in a while.
Yeah, don't come at me unless you want some truth back at you, friend. I'll admit my sins. But,
well, both my kids had wonderful childhoods. They were great children growing up. And then in junior, senior year of high school, everything went wrong. And they both dropped out and then ended up getting their GEDs before they turned their lives around as adults, which I'm so thankful for, very, very thankful for.
Yeah, look at me. I mean, I've went through all that, and I just moving right on.
Yeah, isn't it great to life to come full circle and for things to be happening for you now?
It really is.
Something I want to talk about a little bit and just briefly, and maybe we can have another show on this at some time. I like having you here. So, you're welcome back anytime.
I like being here. I'm going to try to get comfortable with it. I'm going to try to make this a weekly.
All right, you can be my sidekick here, and I can bounce things off of you. That'd be great. But I want to talk about this California House issue a little bit because this just came up. We heard about it about a month ago, and it was. I was surprised to find, and from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, it's one of the Bryson City churches is buying the California House or has bought it.
The last update I had was still a little vague on that. So about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, I had been hearing a lot of rumors, and you have to at least run down a rumor when you live in a small town, because where there's smoke, there's fire usually.
Sure.
And so I busted it out. I did that. I put that's why I'm limited on Bryson City Chamber of Commerce, actually, because I made the post encouraging people with an opinion about it to come down and speak at the town hall meeting of our aldermen, because that impacts all of us. And even still, the detail.
Let's back up a little bit and talk about what they're planning to do.
The details are so vague.
Well, who was that young fellow that talked about it at the town meeting?
Parker Chad.
Parker, yeah, Parker. He represents the church in that regard.
I don't know.
Don't really have
sense. I don't know. I feel like the building he's in now with the restoration house, I think those services are not going to be continued. And I hope I'm wrong about that.
Well, my understanding is that there will be 17 beds in the Calhoun House, and it's supposed to be affordable living for local people. But then it turns out there's going to be counselors. So it's basically a halfway house for addicts. Is that your understanding?
That was my initial understanding, and then we had a meeting where Parker spoke, and that was kind of a private meeting, business merchant meeting. And Parker spoke at that, and he leaned more toward it was supposed to be affordable housing for any resident, but that yes, you had to follow these guidelines. And there are so many regulations and laws in place that it still seems unclear what his plan is, or who is actually buying the place. And
Yeah,
don't know.
it's a little sketchy.
It seems hard to run down some real details.
Yeah. Well, I worry about safety these days. Everybody does.
We do, and we know that we have addicts around town already. We all know that. That's not the issue. It's not that we don't want to help these guys either. I'm afraid that this is just the beginning.
I just want them to be straight up about what it is. I want them to be. I want them to nail it down for us so we know exactly what it is.
Well, we need transparency on a lot.
Exactly.
We need that from them. We need that from our city officials. We need that from our county officials. We, as the constituents, we vote these elected officials in, and we're kind of dropping the ball with not being engaged. One of the charms of a small town is your sense of community. So, neighbors need to be talking to neighbors and forming little community circles. And then you guys, your community circles, send one representative to each meeting a week so that everyone starts becoming informed and having a voice. My fear is that this restoration house project is just leading into more. There are currently rumors of Swain County becoming the destination rehab for the state. And there's so much funding in rehab, and, there's a lot of funding there. And we all know that a lot of times funding comes in for one purpose, but it goes into a pocket somewhere.
Yeah, that's of course, we're finding out a lot about that right now with what's going on federally, nationally, with the Department of Government Accountability, or government, what is it?
DOTE, Department of Government Efficiency.
Efficiency, right?
That's
Right, and we know that a lot of things are being defunded that are not truly public interest kind of things. Things that a lot of specialty projects, and they talk about $20 billion going to a certain project to build this or that, and then that thing never got built, and the $20 billion is gone.
right.
So,
Well, just like that happens on a federal level, it happens on a local level.
I'm sure it does.
It has to.
Palms getting greased.
It does. And I know it changes once you get in there. You maybe have good intentions. You get inside and you're like, oh, but this is so easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate that you see a lot of, especially in the national level, politicians are making less than $200,000 a year, and yet they're somebody's worth $29 million. How does that happen?
How does that happen? How do you suddenly have all those assets?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Well, I'm going to be keeping a sharp eye, I think, on this development of the Calhoun House thing. We have so many tourists walking up and down Everett Street, especially in the summertime when the train is running full bore.
Mm-hmm.
And
think of all those kids during November and December when we do the Polar Express.
Yeah.
As a lifelong local, we have really lost out on part of our town and our history because it's been given up, if you will, to tourism.
Yeah.
And so much has changed to promote that industry. And so, we accept that, okay, this is the cards we've been dealt. Now it's ours, and we need to protect our interests. But we have the people that we've elected trying to protect our interests. Seems like they're not necessarily protecting our interests by promoting, only, 13 to 14% of Swain County is able to be populated. The other 84 or 87% is national park.
Mm-hmm.
So why would we take that 13, 14% of livable county that we even, our revenue comes from the tourism? Everybody's so quick to proclaim, we can't survive without tourism. Okay, why would we take that and pollute it right in the heart?
Well, it remains to be seen. I mean, I believe it's probably going to happen.
From an addict's perspective,
Yeah.
I don't want to come right into the heart of where all of my foreigner friends, you form trauma bonds with these people. They're your family. You love them. You want to help them. And so you become invested emotionally. And now you're going to stick me over here, tell me I have to be sober. I can't go outside and smoke a cigarette with my friend who I've been doing that for the past 12 years. And I'm going to watch them sit right here on the sidewalk and be high and smoke cigarettes and expected to stay stable.
Well, again, it remains to be seen. Being the kind of place that they're projecting it to be, there will be no drugs, no alcohol, that sort of thing inside the house.
Right.
And people have to have a serious attitude about being sober.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if they don't, they'll be kicked out.
Yeah.
But it remains to be seen. We don't know. It's an unknown quantity right now. So it's scary. It could be scary. We don't know. We actually don't know. Just the fact that they're talking about it is throwing the fear into some people.
Well, they weren't ready to come out publicly with it. If you watch the feed from the town meeting that night when it came out,
I did not.
Okay, well, there were 22.
You're talking about the meeting I was at, where I met you?
No,
Okay.
No, that was a different one. The meeting, I just posted on Facebook and was like, hey, come down here if you have an opinion about this. And 22 people showed up down where you pay the water bill. That's a town hall where they have the alderman meetings.
Uh-huh.
So 22 people showed up with something to say. And, Parker stated during that meeting, I wasn't ready to come out with this. So it makes you wonder what steps
Well, there you go. Again.
And
Small towns, small town, word gets out.
yeah,
It's hard to keep a secret.
yeah, you can't do that because somebody's going to find out. And I really love my little town. And I love the people that come here. I love my friends and neighbors. And it's not in our best interest to put that right here.
All right. Amen to that. Well, tell me how you feel about this. I'm a musician, and I sing and I play guitar. I actually grew up playing the drums, played a lot of drums all over North America. And even after that, I've been a rock and roll musician my entire life, pretty much. My sister bought me a Beatles record when I was 6 years old, and that was it. That was it. I took out these little colored records that I had, Sigmund Farmer and Yell.
I remember those.
And
Yes, that's a classic.
from what on, it was just Beatles. And I got a long story about that I'll tell on a different video. But what I'm thinking about is I actually put together a busking outfit. If you know what busking is,
I do. Yeah.
I put together a little busking outfit for them to be able to play and sing in the back of my pickup truck. I was thinking about during tourist season going out and parking on the bridge and just giving little concerts out there.
That's right.
And I could put a bucket out that says retirement fund. And
yes, please. I'm going to be there for first fan.
oh, we need it. Well, I need to do, I'm retired now and I need to do something. We built this studio and I don't know how busy I'm going to be in here. I love doing the podcasts and all that. But then there's the whole thing, we're going to have full instrumentation here. There'll be a drum kit in here. There'll be a piano here. We'll have guitar amps. And
I do have musician friends who are looking to be, right, guys, I don't remember which ones are looking for band members or what band members you're looking for. But my friend Stan Arthur.
Tell the folks a little bit about your realty business. Here's your website, by the way.
Thank you for bringing that up. I work at Berkshire Hathaway as a realtor in Bryson City. I cover all of North Carolina. However, I kind of stay in Western North Carolina. I really enjoy it. It's chaotic. I enjoy helping people and finding things that they're looking for or being able, and I've only got a couple of listings and sellers, I'm more than willing to work with. If anybody's looking,
you're just getting started there.
Yeah,
getting started with it, right?
Yes, I only got my license in September, and I feel like I'm moving forward so fast.
Well, I've got your website up on the screen there. Just go ahead and spell it out for everybody. Courtney Dills.
Great Smokies Realty.
Smokies with an E in it.
Yeah, that's right. It's spelled different. Smokies with an E, like snow.
This thing.
Well, you can go there and look at any of the listings that we have for Berkshire Hathaway or any home that you find that you're wanting to look at. I'm more than willing to step in as your buyer's agent and take you looking. And I have a good time taking people on tours of homes.
Well, that's great. Did you have fun?
I've had a lot of fun. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to work on not saying.
You didn't come off that way at all.
You got to fake it till you make it. That's the only way to get through this life. It's got me through a lot of hard days.
Well, I'm sure I've enjoyed having you here, and I hope that we can get you back in here real soon.
I hope so.
When I'm doing another one where I could use a sidekick and we'll just bounce some ideas off each other and have some fun with it, tell some jokes and all that. What do you think?
That sounds great. I think we should stay in touch and work on this.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching today. It is The Stan Show, and I do put it up everywhere, YouTube, X, and Facebook. So come on back and see us again next time. We are likely to be telling some more stories and having some more guests and just having a lot of fun with it. So hope you come back and see The Stan Show next time. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.